a kirtan. Now, as the kirtans are going on, the Julan will also be, you'll be also able to see the Julan that is happening in flat 607. So mentally think that you are pulling the deities for the Julan. And so over, without spending any more time, I would request Nitai Priya Prabhu to go on. And then I would also request those in 607 to connect on and show. We would need to spotlight the Julan. As they are getting ready, I will do that. But Nitai Prabhu, over to you. Your camera can be slightly lower. I can only see, I can't see your harmonium. Your camera can be slightly lower. Perfect.
Is it better now? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Krishna Kristaya Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashtatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Maha Mantra ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Shama Sundar ki jai. Shri Shri Julan Yatra Maha Mahotsav ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Sangha Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki. Damodar Desh Yatra ki jai. Thai Gaur Premanande.
Hari Bol. So Hare Krishna to all of you who are connected both on YouTube and Zoom. I'd like to personally thank Nitai Prabhu for joining us today and amidst his busy schedule. Thank you very much, Nitai Priya Prabhu. Dandat Pranam to you. Hare Krishna. Over. Hari Bol. Thank you. Now, before we get on to the next session, just wanted to make a quick overview that I needed to give you of what we are doing in the next few days. And I'll make a couple of announcements and then we'll move on. Now, for Eid, so Eid Mubarak to all of you. For on the occasion of Eid, we are fortunate to have a session entitled Panchanga Bhakti, which starts today, the first day of Julan Yatra. And this Panchanga Bhakti will be covered in the 4 days because tomorrow, Friday, we will have 2 sessions. On Monday, which is the last day of Julan, we shall have Balram Appearance Day and there shall be a separate announcement for that. But today, the topic is Sadhu Sanga. As Panchanga Bhakti, we'll cover Sadhu Sanga, Namamrita, hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam, eternal residence in the Dham, and the principles of deity worship, which will be covered by various speakers. Each day we shall have 2 kirtaniyas, one before and one later. We also have a spotlight occasionally on the Julan Yatra that is currently happening at flat 607. We have the beautiful Shri Shri Radha Damodar deities there who have been very wonderfully decorated by our altar team and the devotees in 607. We thank them for that. Today's session, today we have had Nitai Priya Prabhu and now we will have His Grace Jagjeev Jagannath Das Prabhu speak. After that, we shall have His Grace Parikshit Prabhu take us through a kirtan. Today's session is dedicated to Vinoda Kumari, our Mahesh Kulur or Murlidhar Charan Prabhu's mother, who disappeared all of a sudden yesterday, as well for his father-in-law, Shri Vittal Sharmaji, who passed away day before yesterday. Very sad to hear on 2 consecutive days they've lost very close relatives. And I would also dedicate today's session to Shri Balak Krida Krishna Prabhu from our Shamadesh Yatra, who used to be here and only for the last 6 months he had moved to Oman, a young lad of 45 with 2 young children who passed away all of a sudden with heart attack yesterday in Salalah. So with prayers. I would request everybody to chant Hare Krishna, and then I will connect on to His great Jagdiv Jagannath Das Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, over to His great Jagdiv Jagannath Das Prabhu. He needs no introduction to all of us here in Damodar Desh. Prabhu is a disciple of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. He is wonderfully, ably supported by Her Grace Revati Gopi Devi Dasi Mataji. And Prabhu is a very high-ranked professional, has been serving Damodar Desh for over 20 years. And we are very fortunate to have him and guide us in so many aspects of sevas of Damodar Desh. As one of the very seniors of Damodar Desh, we all offer respects to him. And in addition to coordinating Siksha programs, Prabhu is part of our core team. And we thank him for being here today to take us through the first topic, Sadhu Sanga. Over to you, Jagdiv Jagannath Das Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhu, can I have the sharing capability?
Yes, we have made you the co-host.
Hare Krishna to all the assembled devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. I also thank the organizers of Damodar Desh for giving me this opportunity to speak something about Sadhu Sanga, the power of association. Jhulan Yatra Shravana Utsava ki jai, Panchanga Bhakti Shravana Utsava ki jai. So today, being the first day, I will start with a brief introduction of the overall topic. So primarily, we will be covering many aspects.
Keep your camera on if you can. Just keep your camera on if you can. Thank you. Sorry for the interruption. Over to you.
It's on today. 1 second. I thought it was on. 1 second. Yeah. So the main topic, which is going to revolve, all the 5 topics are going to revolve around one wonderful shloka from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter 22, 128. Sadhu Sanga Nama Kirtana Bhagavata Shravana Mathura Vasa Shri Murtira Shraddhaya Sevana. So these are the 5 limbs of devotion, 5 angas of devotion as revealed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So today we will be covering about Sadhu Sanga, which is the first of the 5 angas. So just to give the context of the whole these 5 angas or the 5 limbs of devotional service as we call it. It comes in a chapter of Madhya Leela, 22nd chapter of Madhya Leela, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is discussing these topics with Sri Sanatana Goswami, and this topic is primarily and mainly dealt with the pure devotional service. He's explaining different facets of devotional service. Before going to the main topic of devotional service, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very skillfully and very nicely first introduces the meaning and a small brief about Jnana Yoga, Karma Kanda, Mystic Yoga, and then slowly as we peel off the fruits and to get the main pulp of the fruit, he basically takes one layer out of one layer and one layer out of what, and not only gives him a brief knowledge about it, but he also tells the futility of those things when compared to the Bhakti Yoga. And as he does it, at the end, as he concludes his brief description about Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, and Mystic Yoga, and then he reveals to Sanatana Goswami that there are 64 items listed in regulative devotional service, that is sadhaka devotional service, or sadhana related, or Vaidhi Bhakti that we call it. A devotional service which is revolving around some kind of a regulations. And he said that there are 64 of these important aspects of devotional service, and he says I consider them 5 to be most important. And so those are the 5 that we have just read. And today we'll be talking about those things. And the mention of these 5 limbs of devotion service also comes in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the nuts and bolts scripture on devotion. And there 64 items of devotional service are described, but they are described in 3 layers. First 10 layers are given, and then the second 10 layers are given. First 10 layers are kind of a mandatory for a person to really progress in devotional service. And the second layer are more towards the how we increase our bhakti through regulations and our habits. And then the next 44, 10 in the first layer, 10 in the second layer, and next 44 are basically further enhancing our bhakti in as we progress in our devotional service through regulation. So among these 44, 5 are given. And these 5 do not come in sequence as revealed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the shloka that we recited in the beginning, but nevertheless these 5 come as 34, 42nd, 43, 44, 34, 35, 42, 43, 44. So primarily, almost at this, when he talks about 64 limbs of devotional service, these come at the almost at the fag end of those description. They do not come in sequence, but nevertheless, these 5 are mentioned there in the nectar of devotion as well. And the acharyas also tell us that these 5 are also the pick of Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami also said that he likes these 5 more, and he considered these 5 to be very, very important. So today we'll be covering the first anga of the devotional service, that is Sadhu Sanga. Sadhu means, here Srila Prabhupada has translated as pure devotee, a devotee who knows, and a pure devotee by knowledge, by understanding, and by practice. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastrikaya, Lava Matra, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhihaya. So whenever we have to talk about Sadhu Sangha, this is one very dominant shloka that comes, and Srila Prabhupada and other acharyas also have revealed the shloka in many, many ways. So here we are talking about one of the first limbs of the first 5 limbs of the devotion service, and that is Sadhu Sangha. And here Sadhu Sangha, the importance of Sadhu Sangha is given. Here the verdict of all revealed scriptures is that by even a moment's association with a pure devotee, one can attain all success. So the message here is that Sadhu Sangha is very important. So it is so important that we can attain all the success in our devotional path, and all the revealed scriptures, all the verdict of all revealed scriptures also pointing to that. That means it is very, very important. So if we know that it's important, then we need to know how to get it, and where to get it, and how to sustain it. So that is what we'll be discussing in the next in the next 20 minutes or so. So it is clearly told and established that Sadhu Sangha is very important. So is it easy to get? Let's see what Shastras are telling. In Srimad Bhagavatam, when Narada is giving instructions in Bhagavata Dharma to the faithful inquisitive Vasudeva by recounting a conversation between Maharaja Nimi and Nava Yogendras. So he says, Durlabho Manusho Deho Dehinam Kshena Bhanguraha Tatrapi Durlabham Manye Vaikunta Priya Darshanam. For the conditioned soul, the human body is most difficult to achieve, and it can be lost at any moment. But I think that even those who have achieved human life rarely gain the association of pure devotees who are dear to Lord Vaikunta. So at one side, we know it's important, and the other side, we are coming to know that it is not that easy. Durlabha means very difficult to achieve. So there are other similar Shastrik Pramans where Parikshit Maharaj asked his spiritual master, Shukadeva Goswami, how a demon like Rudrasura became an exalted devotee. In this connection, Rudrasura, he was told about the story of Rudrasura, and this involves the story of Chitraketu and how he was victimized by lamentation because of the death of his son, and again the total turnaround because of that. There also it is said, Muktanam api siddhanam Narayana parayanaha Sudurlabha prasannatma Kotishu api mahamune. O great sage, among millions who are liberated and perfect in knowledge of liberation, one may be a devotee of Lord Narayana or Krishna. Such devotees who are fully peaceful are extremely rare. So Sadhu Sangha is important, but it is difficult to achieve. And we also have this famous shloka in the knowledge of the absolute in Bhagavad Gita, Manushanam sahasreshu kinchis yatati siddhaye yatatanam api siddhanam kaschin mam veti tatvataha. So now we know that Sadhu Sangha is very important, but it is very difficult to get. But if we are inquisitive, if we want to get it, and if it's not that we have to get it, we need to get it, but if we convert that have to need to want to get it, somehow or other, that Sadhu Sangha will be available. In Bhagavad Gita also in the 10th chapter, Sri Krishna tells that he will also sometimes comes as a Chaitya Guru to help us guide. So benefits of that association, if at all we get it, is that in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya says that Sadhu Sangha, the association of great saintly person, is very important. That's what we have, Sadhu Sangha, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha. Because even one is not advanced in knowledge, simply by association with great saintly person, one can immediately make considerable advancement in life. This is what it is told. And Srila Prabhupada also is telling us that if a devotee should always aspire to live in the association of advanced devotees, and this aspiration, this inquisitiveness, this desire actually will help him to engage in the service of the Lord through the parampara system, or this inclination will actually lead him to the association of an advanced devotee or a pure devotee. Srila Prabhupada also gives a very nice analogy of this, of a highly potent drug injected intravenously acts at once on the whole body. Instead of taking tablets, sometimes the medicine, if it has to be given very urgently, it will be administered intravenously, and it acts very fast. So similarly, if we have an oral reception from an advanced devotee, our realization will be very, very fast, and our progress also will be fast. So it's a very nice example, and that's why we need to aspire and try to get that association of a pure devotee. It's not that have or a must, but we want to get that willingly. So among these 5 angas of devotional service, as we have seen, Sadhu Sangha is named in the beginning, and it's also pick of the Rupa Goswami. It is also said that Rupa Goswami has given a lot of importance to Sadhu Sangha, the association of the devotees or serving of the devotees. Okay, so the other 4 limbs of devotional service primarily rotate or very well connected with this. This is like a hub of a wheel, you know. It's a very, very important part of it. Once a devotee aspires and acquires or gets the association of the Sadhu Sangha, the Namakirtana, Bhagavata Shravana, Mathura Vasa, Srimurti Seva automatically will follow in that mode, as long as he is willing to listen and willing to enjoy and willing to gain the maximum benefit out of Sadhu Sangha. So that's why among all the angas, this anga in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara is given a very, I can't say it's rated highest or something like that, but it's given a very significant amount of coverage, a footprint is given on Sadhu Sangha, because it not only talks about the association, it also talks about our service attitude, and it also talks about devotee care. We'll be seeing about that, how Sadhu Sangha is connected with the devotee care. So Sadhu Sangha has got a very important aspect, has got an important place in the 5 limbs of devotional service. And of course, all the 5 limbs of the devotional service, one condition is that Shraddha, we should have a faith, and when we execute these things. And we need to remember that Sadhu Sangha is kind of a hub of the whole wheel. So how do we understand this Sadhu Sangha before we learn more about it? So the most important part of the Sadhu Sangha is the when we talk about this, and also when we look at the literature, quotations, and the way the Srila Prabhupada and other acharyas have revealed, is mainly focusing on the topic of association of advanced devotees. we need and we must have, or we want to have, the association of advanced devotees. So from there, our spiritual nourishment will start, and from where our Bhakti Lata Bij will grow. So that's where is the very lot of emphasis is there. But there is also other aspects of the Sadhu Sangha. One important aspect of Sadhu Sangha is, while we are aspiring and while we are relishing and taking the advantage of getting the shelter of a pure devotee, and we get the knowledge, spiritual knowledge, and also the tips to practice it. We also, as we move along in our devotional service, even though we are still in a very, very, very aspirational devotee stage, still we also can enjoy the association of the peer devotees or congregational members or friend devotees or Bhakti Vriksha members, where we have a very good Pramanik reference shlokas, Machitta Madgata Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam, and Kapila Dev's instructions to Devati in 3:25:25 about the importance of being in association, being in Sangha, and chant the glories of the Lord. So this is also part of the association. This is also part of the Sadhu Sangha. Sadhu Sangha does not necessarily mean only the association of a pure devotee, but it also, in a complementary and a supplementary manner, have the we should have the association of or like-minded devotees, so that also will have a very good nourishment value. Apart from doing that, since we are in a preaching movement, Sadhu Sangha concept, we should also remember that as we move, even in the small steps, not getting puffed up, not getting thinking that I'm great or something like that, keeping Guru and Krishna in our heart, keeping their instructions to the as dutifully as possible, we also have responsibility in giving association to others. So this is the beauty of our teachings of Srila Prabhupada. He also, in a way, makes us sadhus in the sense that we can also give some kind of an association of ours to others. So sometimes what happens is these priorities get mismatched. So when we meet the great associates, great pure devotees of the Lord, generally what we need to do is we need to talk less and listen to them, so that we get influenced by them. But sometimes what happens when we meet them, we tend to talk about ourselves and our things. But the idea is that when we meet them, or when we have to do any service directly, indirectly, or serving those people who are serving them directly, the idea is to be as silent as possible to get as much as possible. But when we are giving association to others as a guide or as a mentor, it is our duty to listen a bit their problem, but also we need to tell what we need to tell. So we need to give our positive thing to them, but we should not get influenced by them to whom we are giving association. So when we are taking association, we need to get as much as possible. When we are giving association, we need to give as much as possible, but we should not get influenced by them. Sometimes it happens when we are trying to deal with certain people, particularly in the newcomers in the congregation. If they have some great ability that somehow or other materially we also have an aspiration, we also want to be like that. So when we get in touch with them, sometimes there is a tendency that we may get influenced by them. So we need to be careful about when we give that association. Another important thing which I feel and I sometimes practice when I do this, when I remember this association of advanced devotees, we should also give association to ourselves, because our own body in our own self is also an instrument that is helping us to carry and walk towards, or go towards bhakti, go in the path of bhakti towards Lord Sri Krishna, with the help of Guru, with the help of so many sadhus, with the help of so many other devotees. But we also have our own responsibility to introspect and have our own association to know, what am I doing? Am I doing right? Am I doing the right thing? Am I serving the yatra properly? And that self-introspection within ourselves is also important, because that's a very, very free channel where we can very transparently talk about ourselves to us. So that is an association that can be very, very powerful, because sometimes, particularly when we are down, or sometimes as we do devotional service, also we go through certain phases of life where we may tend to be criticized, or sometimes we may not be understood properly, or sometimes we may also do a gross mistake. So giving association to ourselves, just like the way we have a very exclusive personal prayers to Lord, we should also have an exclusive self introspection, and preferably self-critical association, introspective association with us, so that that means we'll always be grounded on what we are doing. And that free channel, free flowing introspection and giving our association to ourselves will help us cleanse, purify ourselves, which is sometimes not possible in other channels. So this is very important. And all these three aspects, which are primarily dependent on the association of the advanced devotees, through the mercy that is flowing from them, only these can evolve, the other side bubbles. But these together all form a very, very, very important thing, which is well connected with association of advanced devotees, is we must know the concept of devotee care, because advanced devotees are giving us that mercy, and they are giving that association, and they're caring for us. That's why they're giving it, right? So we need to convert that care that we receive and to spread across the congregation. And that's why when we talk about association of devotees, devotee care is the ultimate result. A devotee care means caring devotees, our own congregational members, and also caring ourselves, to also, so that we can also be grounded, we can also be fit enough to do the service, fit enough physically, fit enough devotionally. So this is a very important concept that comes out of this association of advanced devotees, that we need to be aware. And of course, devotee care is like a walking on a a rope. Sometimes people may misunderstand us, sometimes people may exploit us, sometimes people may criticize us, but nevertheless we should never ever leave the devotee care, because we got some association only and only because someone or some group of devotees have decided that they should care for us. So we must have that responsibility in giving that care to others, and that can happen only if you know the importance of the association of advanced devotees, importance of associating with peer devotees, importance of giving that valuable association to others, as what we learned, what we are practicing, to our fellow members, whoever is willing to take. And of course, self-introspection, association is also very, very important. Okay, and Sadhu Sanga, let's see how the Sadhu Sanga comes in our great scripture of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this part of this section I have taken from a lecture that I heard from Amrendra Prabhu. It was quite interesting how he took the Sadhu Sanga from a Bhagavat angle. So in the first and second chapter, from a Sadhu Sanga perspective, we see the transformational power of a sadhu. We have the discussions of Vyasadeva and Narada. Vyasa was very disappointed and kind of a dejected thing, and Narada comes, gives that great association, guidance, and mercy that leads to the compilation of Srimad Bhagavatam. So transformational power of devotee. And Narada himself also narrates his own story, how he became self-realized in bhakti while serving the devotees when they stayed in their place. And in Canto 3, it tells about, if Canto 1 talks about transformational power of a devotee, Canto 3 talks about what has to be done in the association of devotees. Because it is just not that it is difficult to achieve. After we get the devotee association, we need to know what has to be done in that association. So in Canto 3, we have got very foundational instructions of Kapila Dev to Devahuti, Satam Prasangam Mama Virya Samvido. And of course, we also have that similar instructions in Bhagavad Gita in 10.9. So we need to know the transformational power. We also need to know what has to be done when we get that association of devotees, and how to become determined after getting that association of devotee is covered in Canto 4. That is pastime of Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj gets the association of Narada, and Narada teaches him, and eventually, after receiving the instruction from Narada, So he gets the association of the devotee. He becomes very determined to get what he wanted through the instruction given by the Narada Muni, and that leads him to find Narayana himself. And of course, we also see Lord Shiva's association to Prachetas and how it had influenced them. So in Canto 1, transformation power of a devotee. Canto 3, what has to be done if we at all we get the association of devotee, how to become determined after getting the association of devotee. So let's take the Canto 5. What if you give up association of devotee is something which comes dominant in Bharat Maharaj story, where he wanted to do devotional service and he goes to the forest alone and he's trying to do the best he can, but small slip, he gets captivated, and then he has to go through one full life cycle of another life. And then because of the dint of his good devotional service, he becomes a sadhu, and then he gives association to Maharaja Raghuna. So a person in his previous life went all alone to seek bhakti or self-realization, eventually comes to know what it means to be a sadhu, and he himself becomes a sadhu to give association. So this basically tells that what if you give up association with devotee, what happens? What can in Canto 6 we come to know what we can gain out of sadhu sanga. What is there in it for me? A very nice pastime, Ajamila pastime. Due to a sadhu's association, Ajamila names his son as Narayana, and he keeps calling him Narayana, Narayana. And because of that, even though he commits a lot of sinful activities, he again meets sadhus in the form of Vishnu Dutas and then Narayana himself. So what we can gain out of sadhu sanga is very clearly demonstrated by Ajamila, who named his son as Narayana, and that changed and that proved to be a wonderful blessing to him. And in Canto 7, of course, Canto 7 is a dominant figure. Prahlad Maharaj, Bhakta Prahlad comes, learning power of association, utilizing them in unfavorable circumstances. Prahlad, learning power of association because he learned what Narada taught when he was in womb, but he utilized that in many places, but particularly in unfavorable circumstances that he was there. He was teaching, even though things were unfavorable, since he know the power of association and power of knowledge that he has got, Prahlad Maharaj continued to teach his teachers, his father, whoever he meets. He not only taught, he also practiced. And because of that power of association that he had got from Narada, and he stood with that with determination, with very strong faith, that eventually culminated in the appearance of a very special form of Vishnu in the form of Narasimhadev. So this is what we learn from Canto 7. And Canto 8, we come to know what are the qualities that we should not have, which will force us to lose the devotional association. That's a very dangerous thing, right? To lose. Because why it is very difficult, dangerous? Because first thing is, sadhu sanga is very important. What we learned is sadhu sanga is very difficult to achieve. So after achieving it, if you lose it, then we have lost something very valuable. In 8th canto, Bali Maharaj Charitra comes, Vamana Deva appearance comes, and Shukracharya, who had got everything, was very popular, very powerful, who gave a lot of guidance and things to Bali Maharaj in terms of material prosperity, security, and name, fame. But he became ultimately an unpopular figure in the whole Leela text, because even though he had a great association of a devotee like Bali Maharaj, somehow he did not like what Bali Maharaj was doing, and because he was envious and selfish, he gave some wrong advice. But fortunately, Bali Maharaj did not adhere to that. But still, Shukracharya could have, in the sense of the context of a sadhu sangha, could have become much more well known and well remembered had he also followed the footsteps of Bali Maharaj. And in Canto 9, we get to see again a similar story. Very great devotee, Ambarish Maharaj. Durvas Muni is very, very famous, but pride and envy makes him lose the devotional association. Qualities that we should not have, which will force us to lose devotion association. So he has got envy. Envy is also can be pronounced as envy. That means if we have envy, that means there is no vacancy in the hearts of Vaishnavas. With envy, the hearts of Vaishnavas means hearts of pure devotees. We will not get that right place that we should get if we approach them and which we have an envy within us. And if we commit offenses like Durvasa, offense means off the fence. That means no entry. Because after Durvasa Muni committed many of that offense with Ambarish Maharaj, he was powerful enough to go to so many places, but he did not get the hearing that he has to get. He was kept off, and he said, "You go back." So Bhakti Tirth Maharaj has a very nice saying. He says, "The Vaishnava that we criticize is the same personality that will have key to our door to the Golok entrance." So here, His Holiness Bhakti Tirth Maharaj is telling, it's very, very important for us not to do that offense. Because of that offense, we might lose a very, very valuable thing in our life that we have got, is that devotee association. And when you come to Canto 10, better to be in the association instead of leaving, where we have this Leela of Kalia and Garuda have an encounter. And even though it was not a very pleasant thing to be there, you're fighting with a devotee, Garuda is a devotee there, but still Kalia holds on. And because of that, he will eventually be pushed to stay and hide in Yamuna. And then that's where he got the benefit. And same way, so Shobhari Muni also get cursed by Garuda, but he still stays and where he has to stay, even though he falls down. And then he goes to the material life, marries so many people, enjoys. But then within the same lifetime, he comes back with a realization of what he was done as wrong. And then he goes, because Kali and that Muni stayed, even though the situation was very uncomfortable of being cursed and fighting, but they still stayed with Garuda, who's Lord's devotee. Yeah. And in Canto 11, we find very nice descriptions and conversations between Sri Krishna and Uddhava, and the spirit of cooperation that should exist amongst the devotees, and spirit of cooperation that we need to cultivate when we have the association with the sadhus can be known, because in a very friendly environment, Lord Krishna tells so many things to Uddhava, and then Uddhava's conversation, just like they were cousins, they're friends, and Krishna always treated him like on par with him in terms of knowledge and intellect. So the very nice conversations that happen, and spirit of cooperation while we are in the Sadhu Sangha is very much there. And once Srila Prabhupada was asked which department he likes among the Sankirtana, book distribution, and so many kitchen and deity decoration, deity worship, Srila Prabhupada said, "I like the department which cooperates and keeps Krishna and Guru in the center." So this is the department that Srila Prabhupada likes. So spirit of cooperation is very, very important in the whole thing. And the importance of association of devotees should be the highest priority. This is what 12th canto culminates, saying that Maharaj Parikshit, when he comes to know that he has to leave after being cursed, took direct shelter of Bhagavata and got full benefit. So this is the ultimate message of the importance of association of devotee to be the highest priority, not only to Parikshit Maharaj who had an impending death before him, but all of us, because we don't know when the death comes. And recently, in the last 2 days or 3 days, we have seen, within our own communities, what has happened. So in that way, Sadhu Sangha spirit of devotion is very much given in Srimad Bhagavatam. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita also, there's a rapid fire question and answers come between Lord Chaitanya and Raman Roy. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked several questions. Among the two ones which are relevant to today's topic are, what is the ultimate pain? What is dukkha? When should somebody become very sad? Raman Roy replies immediately that separation from a devotee, Krishna Bhakta Viraha, is my biggest pain. And in other question, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked the reverse question, what is the most auspicious activity? And Raman Roy says, association of devotees, Krishna Bhakta Sanga is the most auspicious activity that I can ever have. Because this is Raman Roy, very, 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 very big devotee. And he's also a sadhu who is replying to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And through Raman Roy, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also telling us the importance of Sadhu Sangha. Through Sanatana Goswami, he is told. Through Rupa Goswami, he is told. And here he's telling through Raman Roy. And let's quickly look in the next few minutes. Acharya Vacha, what our acharyas, our contemporary acharyas are telling. Here Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj is telling, when we do devotional service, we should always do in the association of devotee. Bhakti should be conducted, and it's very dangerous to do it, try to do it alone, because Maya will attack. Vaishnava K, there's a very famous book of the Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, and then for which His Holiness Jayapataka Swami has also written commentary and translated. So this is very important aspect, that we need to be in the association of devotees to cultivate our devotion, to progress and to nourish our devotion. And then His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj says, even though we say that the devotee association is very important, but it is very difficult to get. But thanks to the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, there are so many devotees available to us in ISKCON, from whom we can take the guidance. We are. That's why we should be very, 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 very fortunate to be on this planet at this time. At this time, if you see, the statisticians may say that we have 7 billion people in this world. But if you analyze those 7.5 billion people, how many have got consciousness, how many know the relationship with God, how many people know what exactly has to be done, who is God, and among them, how many of them are willing to surrender to a realized soul to go back to Godhead. So we can probably be in the 0.00005% of those 7.5 billion people of this world. It's very interesting. Of course, that should not make us feel proud. That should give us an additional responsibility. Here, Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj is telling, ISKCON is a factory of pure devotees, thanks to Prabhupada. All you have to do is to stay on. Our only concern is to remain in ISKCON and associate with devotees. When we associate with devotees, we slowly and slowly get to know about their great qualities, and thus we give up our envious characters. And His Holiness Bhakti Bringa Maharaj also tells the importance of the devotees, and he basically is telling us to be know the importance of it, relish the positive moments, absorb and never underestimate the devotee association, and understand that pure devotee opens the door of liberation. And His Holiness Loknath Swami also is telling us that Krishna has made an arrangement for the humans to escape from the clutches of Maya, which is the associating with devotees. So if you have to get out of this Maya, the only and only way is through association of devotees and following the devotional path and following their instruction as it is coming in the Parampara system. And His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj is telling, what is the association of the devotees? That does not mean being around people with tilak and shaved heads or with saris. It means engaging in the 9 process of bhakti, devotional service together. Association can make us convinced about anything that is good for us to go back to Godhead and to progress in our devotional service. And His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj is telling, by association with the enthusiastic devotee, we can help each other nourish our desires for Krishna consciousness. Strong association creates a strong atmosphere. So yes, and that's why if we see Srila Prabhupada, when we formulated the 7 purposes of ISKCON, there is one thing that he has made which also talks about a society and devotees being closer and nearer to Krishna, so that they can develop a healthy relationship. To bring the members of society together with each other, nearer to Krishna, prime identity, thus developing an idea within the members, humanity at large, that each soul is part and parcel and quality of Krishna. That concept of society, being together, serving each other, learning from each other, and of course, taking the shelter of advanced devotee to understand more and more about bhakti is what we have been told. And finally, Srila Prabhupada is telling, one should learn how to associate with the devotees of the Lord by gathering with them to chant the glories of the Lord. This process is most purifying. As devotees thus develop their loving friendship, they feel mutual happiness and satisfaction. And by thus encouraging one another, they are able to give up material sense gratification, which is the cause of all suffering. And His Holiness Mahavishnu Swami Goswami Maharaj used to like this purport, a line in the purport which is of Srila Prabhupada, which is also connected with association of devotees. Association of devotees with devotees means association with Lord. So it's as potent and as powerful as that. So His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami basically talks about how ISKCON is structured. to facilitate for us so that we can easily follow all the 5 angas of devotion service. Even though this is not completely my topic of today, but my topic is only of one on Sadhu Sanga. But since it's a very relevant thing, I just quickly read it and before ending the session. In one of his lectures, His Holiness Bhakti Swami said, Prabhupada actually designed ISKCON in such a way that anyone who is engaged in Krishna consciousness in ISKCON is automatically performing these 5 activities. The first aspect is Sadhu Sanga. Anyone who is in ISKCON is getting the association of the sadhus, devotees. Similarly, anyone who is in ISKCON must attend Bhagavatam class and at least read some time every day. So this is how one is reading scriptures. And anyone who is in ISKCON worships the deity, although not all of us worship the deity directly, but by attending Mangala Aarti and the morning program, we automatically do that. Then comes residing in the Holy Dham. All temples of Krishna are not different from Goloka Vrindavana. Therefore, those who are living in the temple or those whose consciousness is in temple, Moraman Vrindavan, are actually residing in Mathura. In this way, Prabhupada has given us the simple process for Krishna consciousness. So this is how we should be so grateful that we have an opportunity to discuss these topics. We have such a nice and a contemporary devotees who are available to us in our lifetime like this. So we need to be very happy and to be grateful to them. And at the same time, also do our own self-introspecting to see what we can contribute. This is the last slide that I'm going to have. I was talking about, when we talk about association of devotees, 3 main things: association with peer devotees, giving association to others, self-introspecting association should ultimately result in what we are getting from the advanced devotees to devotee care. So one of the things that we recently are trying to do from a devotee care perspective, in order to serve all the congregation members, the DDY leadership and Srila Prabhu have recently announced a database to collect the details of all the devotees. So that will become a very primary foundational information for us to serve you better, particularly in these times of we being very off, physically very distant. We need to be connected. We need to know where are the programs happening and where are the devotees are there, what are their contact numbers. So in that way, this association of devotees, as it evolves to the devotee care, which is very closely related, I take this opportunity to humbly request all of you to look to this message which Srila Prabhu has put in almost all the forums that I know of for Damodar Desh. It's just a matter of 5 to 10 minutes. Please do click the form and then enter your details. Last week, I got an update that only 400 devotees have done so far in the last 2 weeks. That's a bit disappointing to me. So kindly, please help us so that if we have the data, we can be able to serve you better in terms of the devotee care. मैं सब आश्रम भक्तों से भी ये मांगता हूँ, ये विनम्र भाव से मैं ये मांगता हूँ कि आप सब ब्रजनंदन प्रभु, बंद बलदेव प्रभु से संपर्क कीजिए। जो 2 भक्त आपको बताएंगे कि ये फॉर्म कैसा फिलअप करना चाहिए। केवल 5 मिनट की बात है। हमको आपका इंफॉर्मेशन चाहिए ताकि हम लोग आपको सर्व कर सकें, और in that way we will be happy and we will be grateful to you for giving us this opportunity to serve you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I thank the organizers for giving me this valuable chance to talk about valuable opportunity for me to enable to talk about association of pure devotee from the 5 limbs of Bhakti. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Jagdiv Jagannath Das Prabhuji. Thank you for taking us through this wonderful session here today. And I'm sure, forgive me for those who possibly were expecting something in Hindi. From tomorrow, we'll make it a little Hindi and English mixture. I've got some requests for that to happen. But yes, this is a 5-day session that we are having. Thanks to Eid also falling right at the festival to celebrate Julan Yatra. Generally, Julan Yatra, I'm a little nervous because Janmashtami preparations, I always worry that the Julan Yatra is coming in between. But this time we have all the time to have Julan Yatra. And so we are very happy that we are having a nice session. I thank the devotees who have done the Julan, the Alta team, and the 607 team who have done a very nice Jula. I'll have a spotlight as I announce now. Thank you very much, Jagdiv Jagannath Das Prabhuji. And moving on, we are slightly running late, but I think we do have the time. I would not like to cut off any time from Parikshit Prabhu. He can take that extra time. It's now 7:15. You can go on till 7:45. As the Julan is moving on, I would request every one of you to mentally think that you are personally pulling the rope and in this Vrindavan gardens, and this Vrindavan is in flat 607. The devotees were so enthusiastically put grass at the bottom and have such beautiful deities in the Vrindavan setting. We thank you all for Shri Shri Radha Damodar deities. Maybe Kalapi Jani Prabhu from Nairobi may also be connecting. I would also like to thank him for the wonderful set of deities that he has donated to us. And thank you very much for that, number one. Number two, again, I would like to mention that today's session is also being dedicated to the disappearance of three devotees. The father-in-law of Muralidhar Charan Prabhu, that is Vittal Sharmaji, who passed away day before yesterday. The mother of Muralidhar Charan Prabhu, who is Vinoda Kumari Mataji, who passed away yesterday, both a little elderly in age. And also a shocking news about Balak Krida Krishna Prabhu from Shamadesh, who recently migrated to Salala, a 45-year-old lad who passed away with heart attack instantly. And so I would request every one of you to chant Hare Krishna for them. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And as I also move on, I would like to also quickly mention about the programs that we are having. And today we shall have His Grace Parikshit Prabhu, who will lead us through a kirtan now. He also, after 4 months of being in India, he's come back here. Thank you. Thank the Lord. And also that he's back here with his family. And I would also like to mention to you all that tomorrow, Friday, we have the second limb, which is Namamrita. And we have the great fortune of having His Grace Krishna Kirtan Prabhu from Bangladesh, who was there with us in the earlier Eid also. He will be taking us through, along with his entire team, very special, authentic kirtans from the Padyavali from at 10 a.m. going on until 11:15. Kindly do not miss, be on time. And we will also have His Holiness Sachinandana Swami Maharaj, who has been an authority in Namamrita and chanting with absorption, giving so many classes, writing so many books, doing so many workshops on the holy name of the Lord. And we are fortunate to have His Holiness Sachinandana Swami Maharaj with us tomorrow between 11:30 to 12:30 with some questions that it can extend to a little longer time. And beyond that, we shall also have on Saturday, Sunday, again we have programs, and Monday being Balram Appearance Day, we shall have special program also on Monday for Balram Appearance Day. So let's have this nice opportunity, and we're also making plans for Janmashtami to have a 3 or 4 day program, maybe running up to the weekend. We're also looking that there is an option if some devotees want to bring their deities to 607 and hand it over to the devotees there. We don't want crowding. Hand it over. Or every one of you can have a beautiful decoration and boga in your own house and do an abhishek in your own house, and we will get to everybody's house to see the beautiful alankar as lecture and kirtans are going. So these are the plans that we are looking at. So without taking away much more of your time, I would like to personally invite Parikshit Prabhu and his entire team who are here today to take us through the a wonderful kirtan today. Hare Krishna. Over to you, Parikshit Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So first of all, I would like to thank Srivalla Prabhuji for organizing this Sadhu Sanga program during these Eid holidays. Thank you, Prabhuji, for allowing us in some service. We are very grateful to you. Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Hari Bol. Thank you, Parikshit Prabhu. Thank you for wonderful kirtans. Thank you for assembling such a big team. I just want to make one mention. Are you able to hear me clearly, Parikshit Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji, I can hear.
Okay. So also for Mohan Gauranga Prabhu, because he's going to come online tomorrow, yeah. I would actually request lesser number of only one kartal. Kartal should be very far away from the person. Mridanga should be lower volume. And the person who is singing should be very close to the camera, because when the kartals were there, it was a lot of disturbance on the kirtan.
Yes,
okay? Yes. When we had Pitai, only harmonium and his speech, there was no disturbance. It was perfect. When you were now talking, I'm audible. But with the other teams and the kartals, and definitely no two kartals. Kartals should be very far away from the room, from the mic. I'm just giving you the specs so that in the future, because we all have to learn the online way. Zoom is poor in that. Mohan Gauranga Prabhu, you're also going online tomorrow. Make sure that the mridanga is very low in volume. And yes, you are very close to the mic or the camera that is being set. Okay? So thank you very much to the entire team. Welcome back, Parikshit Prabhu and the family. I hope is Damodar back in town or not yet?
Yes, he's also back.
Okay. Very good. So thank you all for taking us through. And tomorrow, let's just get on to the. Can I request Parikshit Prabhu to just sing Namaste Narsinghaya with no accompaniments right now? And get closer to the mic. The other accompaniments, get closer to the mic. I don't want you to stay near your mic. Get closer to the camera. Pause for a second. Today, I would request every one of you to also pray for the health of Virandar Kumar Arjuna, the father of Dr. Sonal, who is in the hospital. They are looking. He is much better today, but they want prayers for his recovery. Over to you, Parikshit Prabhu. Quick Namaste Narsinghaya, as we have the last view of Julan.
Hare Krishna. Namaste
Thank you very much, Parikshit Prabhu. Hare Krishna. And I would now want to thank every one of you who've been here today for the program. And again, personally like to thank all the devotees of Flat 607 and the Alta team who have very wonderfully done the decor, taken us to Vrindavan. आज के राधा दामोदर झूलन यात्रा दिखाने के लिए कल याद रखना कि कल सुबह प्रोग्राम ठीक 10 बजे शुरू होता है कीर्तन से और फिर 11:30 बजे हिज ऑननेस सच्चिदानंद स्वामी महाराज का भी प्रोग्राम है और कल रात को भी सेशंस है मोहन गौरंग प्रभु और हरिगोपाल प्रभु के फैमिली का कीर्तन होगा और तुलसी गोविंद प्रभु का लेक्चर होगा कल 2 सेशन है सुबह और शाम ईद मुबारक टू ऑल ऑफ यू कल का प्रेयर हम श्रीमती कौशल्या रोचानी हमारे नरोत्तम कृष्ण प्रभु के माँ के लिए कर रहे हैं हरे कृष्णा So see you all tomorrow. Thank you very much. Vancha kalpatrubhyascha kripa sindubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ekam shastram devaki putra geetam eko devo devaki putra eva eko mantraha tasya namanyani karmapya ekam tasya devasya seva tvameva mata cha pita tvameva bandhucha saka tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva sarvam mama deva deva कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय हरे परमात्मने प्रणत क्लेशनाशाय गोविंदाय नमो नमः कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंद गोप कुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः वसुदेव सुतम देवम कंस चाणूरमर्दनम देवकी परमानंदम कृष्णं वंदे जगद्गुरुम कात्यायनी महामाई महायोगिन्यधीश्वरी नंद गोप सुतम देवी पतिम मे कुर्ते नमः। श्री कृष्ण शरण मम दासो हम कृष्ण तवास्मि। श्री श्री राधा दामोदर डेटीज की जय। ओम गोविंद प्रभु, थैंक यू, आपके कैमरा परफेक्ट फिट हुए हैं, ऐसे ही और 5 दिन के लिए भी करना। थैंक यू वेरी मच। हरे कृष्णा। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।